Hello and welcome back to Vox Terra, aka Hidden Agendas. Today, the Trump quotes that our media overlooked during that last presidential debate between Donald J. Trump and Joe Biden. Overlooked in part because of Joe's "Are you feeling okay?" performance and his "We beat Medicare" quote, but also, in my opinion, because of the nature of our media and its dominance by these wealthy people and established business interests. I will cite to the CNN transcripts and quote from those. So the one that really nobody should forget and everybody should have heard about was Trump saying, "We had H2O. We had H2O. WTF, Trump?" That comment was made after he was initially dodging answers on the climate crisis. Bash said, "There's 38 seconds left, President Trump. Will you take any action to slow the climate crisis?" Trump. "So I want absolutely immaculate clean water and I want absolutely clean air. And we had it." Here it comes. We had H2O.
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O.
Just sit with that. We had H2O. What does that mean? That's gibberish. And it is emblematic of one of the worst administrations for our environment. Remember, Donald Trump got an F- from League of Conservation voters. Yet all his deregulations and promotion of oil and gas uber alles overall got little attention from our media because why? Those are powerful business interests. Everybody should know that Trump went on to say about Joe Biden when he was asked about inflation, his meaning Joe Biden's Green New Scam. "I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect." And I know Trump doesn't sound like that. I'm just feel like doing that voice. "It was good. All he had to do was just leave it alone. But he destroyed it with his Green New Scam."
I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New Scam and all of the other.
Well, first of all, it's not his, meaning Joe Biden's Green New Deal. No, Joe Biden gave us just this wimpy Inflation Reduction Act, which, okay, it was better than we ever had before, so most environmental groups agree, but he wouldn't even call it a climate act. He wouldn't call it an environmental act. No, he called it an Inflation Reduction Act because I know people don't really worry about the environment. Yeah, they do, dude. They do. Big political mistake number one, because the only thing as a Democrat that I tell you, and I know from talking to lots of Republicans, I know from even considering myself a Republican at one point, is the only thing that speaks to them is the environment. They all get it that Republicans are not that great on the environment, or that they're pro-deregulation or pro these reckless business interests, and even their supporters don't get why. So by calling it an Inflation Reduction Act, Joe Biden, you missed what could have been your greatest legacy of ever, however you want to put that one. And it was no Green New Deal anyway because it supported things like carbon capture, which the real hardcore environmentalists consider just a way to jolly along that fossil fuel industry. It supports nuclear energy, which it looks to me like the Biden administration doesn't have a lot of appetite to really stand up for wind power in the face of all the opposition. So, hey, let's have nuclear power plants, but not those unsightly wind turbines. That doesn't make sense to me, and it doesn't make sense to a lot of environmentalists. So it ain't Joe Biden's Green New Deal. It's the territory of the Bernie-crats. Okay, that's why many of us supported Bernie, because he had the guts to stand up to the fossil fuel industry and call out their dominance in our society. When Joe Biden, even when he's sounding lucid, doesn't do that. It ain't his Green New Deal. It would be great if it was. And number two, you know what, amigos y amigas? The real scam is not having a Green New Deal. Well, why do I put it that way? This economy that we are basically slaves to, a rat race of just sell, buy, sell, need it or don't, is entirely subsidized by our government at some level, either through tax baits, tax credits, tax abatements, direct grants, bailouts, or even just the fact that what seems like cheap natural gas and cheap disposable plastic cups and how the miracle of toxic pesticides, none of that stuff is cheap because none of it factors in the true cost of the product. None of it factors in all the cancers, all the neurotoxins, all the real harms to our human bodies and the other living animals, and all the greenhouse gases this stuff, this crap, if you want to call it that, is producing. That is not factored into the cost of that product. So not having a Green New Deal is a scam. What we have now is a scam. And Trump is showing his true colors that he just defends this status quo. But that goes unnoticed by our media, thanks to both Joe Biden and the nature of the media. You know what? The moderator, though, Bash, he actually gave not a bad description of climate change. I was pleasantly surprised.
Crisis. 2023 was the hottest year in recorded history, and communities across the country are confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat, intensifying wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you've vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Well, let me just go back to what he said.
I like that because he's explaining the real and present danger, not just off in the future 100 years from now, which is happening now. I would add feedback loops are kicking in, changes in disease vectors, crop failures, the extreme rains and the extreme dries. And I would always add in what I call the 2-for-1. You know what? Fossil fuels and petrochemicals are toxic from start to finish. Whether you, quote, believe in climate change or not, none of this stuff is good to drink because of those fracking chemicals, and it ain't good to breathe in. Well, Trump's, quote, solutions, if you listen to what he actually said, because it wasn't overshadowed by, we beat Medicare, and, you know, I'm up here doddering around, I meaning Joe Biden, more of the same. And it's tax cuts, deregulations, more oil drilling. How can you do more than Biden, but more oil drilling, and military spending. And 3 out of 4 of those, I guarantee you, are not especially popular, even among people who consider themselves conservatives. That being tax cuts for the wealthy and big corporations, deregulation of our environment that everybody gets we are being poisoned here, and something's got to be done to rein it in.
What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history.
And more oil drilling. Drill, baby, drill till doomsday and 365 days after. That's the game plan, people.
We're ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had.
That's the Trump game plan. Drill, baby, drill, deregulate, cut taxes, and keep the system propped up with the only civil service you're willing to fund, which is the military. And that, too, I have shown you, also benefits not just our brave young men and women at arms and the generals who make a bit more. It benefits those very wealthy CEOs who are making around an average of $20 million a year in the defense industry at those private defense industry businesses. Yet one more subsidy to the very top. Well, so if when I'm telling you this stuff is not especially popular even among Republicans, then why are people voting for Trump? Because you got somebody like Trump who's offering some meaty stuff. The only meaty stuff he's offering is, hey, I'm warning you about immigrants. Now, I straight up do not agree with that tactic. I disagree with him, and I'll tell you why. But first, it's up against not just a Joe Biden who seemed out of it, but a Joe Biden, even when he's lucid, he's not offering you anything meaty like Bernie would have. Bernie would have said, hey, you know what? Our society's dominated by fossil fuel, petrochemicals, defense industry, pharmaceuticals. He's offering you that. To Biden's, not sure what he's offering, are we? But I'm telling you what Trump's offering is a lot worse in the big picture when it comes to our economic security, when it comes to our environment. Well, what do I mean economic security? Where Trump jumped in, where he just jumped in and pounced on Biden was when Biden Biden made his comment about we beat Medicare, his drug-addled comment or whatever he was on to give him performance enhancers comment, we beat Medicare. And I can tell you I know what he meant by that. Maybe I'll save that for a different video. So here, Trump said, yeah, you sure did beat Medicare with all these immigrants you're bringing in. Let me quote you from him. He did beat Medicaid. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because of all these people are coming in, quoting him now, Trump that is, they're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security, and they're going to destroy Social Security.
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence, and it's a shame.
Classic divide and conquer. I've been getting emails like that from all my friends, people, the fellow Gen X who are just got their bees in a bonnet about immigration. It's a way to take your attention off of true solutions. Again, Bernie Sanders, when it came to Medicare, he said, let's have Medicare for all. You know what? My whole lifetime, in addition to being concerned about climate change and our environment, I have seen over most of it anyway, a get sick, you grow broke, I'm sorry, sir or madam, you didn't read the fine print, this is not covered under your plan, miserable system. Who the chicken squawk wants it? Yet here it is, justified as a change of socialism. Well, no, let's just blame immigrants on this. No, there's how you got what Bernie would tell you, health insurance industry power, pharmaceutical industry power, and then no one really dares say, but I believe some of the medical establishment among some of the medical doctors, specialists, maybe they play a role in this too. But don't look at any of those big donors to Republicans and Democrats. No, more to Republicans because at least some Democrats are offering a real solution like Bernie. No, let's just look at Pedro and all the Pedros coming over here. You get what I'm saying? It's just take your eyes off of a real solution. All you got to do to fix Social Security, quote, fix it, is just raise the cap. Right now, your Social Security tax stops at a certain point. It stops at a certain point, and then they don't tax anymore. You lift that cap tax all the way to the end of the income stream there. There'd be a lot of money in that system. And Americans, we shouldn't be scrabbling around with our 401ks. We should have a solid pension like government employees get. We should all have that, like the big unionized auto workers used to get. But it shouldn't be limited to unionized auto workers. Just all Americans should have a pension. All people on the planet should have a pension for that matter. And you're not going to get there by everyone scrambling around with a 401k, seeing how it's doing every few months. Trump blaming it on immigrants is not the issue. But again, it feels to people like something in a planet, in a climate that's unraveling. They don't know why. They don't get what's going on because the media doesn't tell them. They're sugar-fed. They got a sugar-fed media, and they got a sugar-fed education system. So here along comes Trump, Pedro, immigrants. It feels like something to them with Biden's, even before he was acting like he acted today, to I don't know what he stands for. So I was telling my liberal Democrat friends, should have voted for Bernie. But okay, you didn't. Here we are. Now I got to get up here and explain to you why Trump is worse. But Biden's not explaining it this way, is he? And he didn't even when he was lucid. So maybe we'll save the foreign policy for another video and just sit with this one. We had H2O, Green New Scam, tax cuts for the wealthy, drill baby drill, and deregulate our environment. That is what Trump actually offered. Doing all that while getting you focused on Pedro, while on a day-to-day basis, you're getting exposed to microplastics, pesticides, all sorts of carcinogens, all sorts of neurotoxins. Our atmosphere is getting pumped full of greenhouse gases. Our climate is clearly unraveling, and we're just gonna focus on Pedro. Hermanos y hermanas, friends, brothers and sisters, I hope you found this interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and if you did, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel. You have clicked that blessed notification bell. You are liking, you are commenting, you're letting me know how this new, more podcast-oriented format is working for you. I am doing my best here with the time I have. As I told you before, I had to take on another job because just YouTube after the past 5 years really isn't hitting it for me. Let me know. Please post a comment. I love hearing from you. Thank you to my 2 subscribers, Bella Grissi and Environmental Coffee House. You two have been with me for so long. I really appreciate it. And as always, until next time, keep cool in the heat by slowing yourself down a bit. And peace be with you.